In the very first episode of Phineas and Ferb, we see how these kids fight boredom in a very simple way. And that's building the biggest, coolest and safest roller coaster ever. Because I guess they let their intrusive thoughts win. Oh, and that it's not even the most expensive invention they have ever made. These are boys who have invented time travel, artificial intelligence, teleportation, portals through space-time continuum, and a super suit that flies with his ass. None of those things above seem like they were cheap to build. And that's because they're not. So, of all the projects they have built, which one is the most expensive? You may ask, hey daddy, how are we going to do that? First, we will see the most expensive idea of each season to finally select the winner. And from there, we will go full mathematical mode, determining how much it is in dollars. And by mathematical mode, I mean using ChatGPT for the calculations, because I'm way too stupid. Their most famous and iconic invention has to be for sure the roller coaster. The coolest coaster goes around the whole city, built with the highest quality materials.
We're gonna need a blow and some more peanut butter.
Wasn't on the original blueprint, traveling around the world and even space. We can assure this was really pricey.
Croissant?
Anyone want a croissant?
The next option we are going to see is when the boys are excited about all the projects they have in mind, and since building the biggest constructions in an afternoon isn't good enough, because these guys build faster than a Fortnite player after hitting 2 footsteps. They decide to create several androids to do all the things they need to do in the future.
That one's having trouble falling asleep.
To get an idea of how expensive this can be, the Honda robot who once was playing football, and same as Boston Dynamics, they can do some simple physical work. But honestly, it is better to simply enslave children than having these expensive metal junks. Since in the real world, they can cost more than $2 million each. And they created many robots.
My name is Connor. I'm the android sent by CyberLife.
We could find the last option from this first season in the episode titled God Game, where Buford and Isabella are arguing on whether the boys are better than girls. Which is such a silly argument. No one is better than anyone else. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. That's why girls and boys complement each other. I'm single, by the way. Isabella challenges Buford to the F Games.
F for Ferb.
Oh! Here we can see a huge open-air stadium with thousands of fans shouting and enjoying whatever that sport is, which is more like a public humiliation. This building is massive and tall enough to interfere with the flight path of a plane. Isabella calls it the biggest competition in the world, since everyone is excited to see what truly is the best gender, which they make it totally clear.
Girl scores now the square root of pi, while the boys still have a crudely drawn picture of a duck.
I have one clear option that beats the other ones from this second season. And it's from the episode The Doof Side of the Moon. And it starts with Phineas and Ferb watching an ad come out on TV, asking people to come to Danville, since it has very interesting things like milk, smiles, and grass. Hey, that's a good one. So they decide to build the world's tallest building that reaches the moon.
We're gonna know when to stop building.
I guess we'll just know when we get there.
We're there.
We can see how the interior of this building looks like a fever dream, with so many different rooms. That confirms that indeed they let the boys win.
From the minds of Phineas and Ferb.
The boys go to space again, this time to make the best tasting ice cream ever, in the episode Moon Farm, where I think the farm itself is not that expensive, but putting an ice cream farm would definitely establish them as neighborhood alphas.
You don't build a barn, dumbass. What do you think this is, 1785?
And did you know a cow is not really cheap? But what really is pricey is first the big and advanced spaceship, and well, they, for obvious reasons, had to equip each cow with super advanced space suits. And do you have any idea how much one of these suits cost? I almost fell off my chair when I find out. Between $15 to $22 million. Yeah, one single cow is worth enough money to buy my entire town. 3 times. So before we actually go to see the most expensive project Phineas and Ferb have ever done, we need to see the last option that we can find in the last episode of the show, called Last Day of Summer. They built this massive, roller coaster to close summer vacation. And although the episode actually is about fixing the space-time continuum due to Candace messing with the do-overinator, The everything right is what I suppose an acid trip feels like. I suppose. I don't really know. Because my mom says hallucinogens are bad. It is worth saying that what we could have seen from this is pretty creative. With so much going on, I wonder if the creators were on acids while making this. Alright, some of these pics are somewhat comparable to real life. This way certain calculations can be done. Because if not, you tell me, how could we know how much a shrinking watercraft that goes inside Candace would cost?
Yeah, we're inside Candace's stomach.
So we have 6 different options. We're going to see from out of this list the least expensive one until we reach the most expensive idea. So let's start with the Android version of the voice. As we talked about, these robots are really advanced, and considering one Honda robot has a price tag of $2.5 million, and well, we are not taking into consideration the machine itself that builds those plastic things. If we multiply this number with the amount of robots they made, I counted them and they are like 12, giving us a total of $30 million. Without a doubt, slaving children is cheaper. The next one on the list would be the giant stadium for the F Games. It seems really big, and although it was built in the backyard, stadiums are usually several blocks wide. Also, those famous stadiums usually cost around the billions of dollars, and are more pretty than this one, honestly. We gotta be real, this sign they put no effort to the exterior. That shit is mad ugly. I know it is actually like a Colosseum, so if we were to build the Colosseum today, this space gives us an estimated cost of $435 million. But if we eliminate labor costs, because well, child labor, we could consider half of that price, since it is not as big. So we could say a price of $217 million spent that single day.
I'd just like to see you try to get rid of that before month.
Now, one of the best ideas of Phineas and Ferb, the coolest coaster, but how expensive it was. Let's see, the roller coaster goes all over the city of Danville, and here is where the complicated part comes, since Danville as such is not a real city. It is a fictional city like, I don't know, Gotham. So we don't know how big this city is. However, this is internet. So we got a Reddit user who asked the question of where the city is located in real life. Since the city has some characteristics that can be somewhat confusing. The tri-state area has a coastline, but also has the 4 seasons. It is within a relatively short drive of Mount Rushmore. So after a long investigation, they come to the conclusion that Danville is located in California. It's called Danville. Oh wow, who would have thought? It has an area of 18 square miles or 47 square kilometers. So now let's take this as a reference to a roller coaster called Steel Vengeance, which measures 1,742 meters or 1.8 kilometers. And it costs $15 million. Now let's say that the city of Danville measures about 50 kilometers to round up. Since we have to take into account all the turns that a roller coaster has, plus we are using kilometers because that's what I'm used to. Sorry, cry about it. Okay, if we divide 50 kilometers by 1.8, the result would be the number of times the roller coaster fits in the city, which is 28. Right. $15 million multiplied by 28, that's a total cost of $420 million. Wow!
What the flip?
The next one on the list is also generational wealth wasted on a single day, and that's basically the moon farm. A rocket on average costs around $187 million. And by the way, let's mention the money they spent on the failing rockets they built unsuccessfully, since they didn't build a single rocket, but they made 5. That's a total of $935 million. The second place goes for the last day of summer, where they built this. Whatever this is. And honestly, how am I supposed to know the price of this? But what I can do is to measure the first place of this list. Because this is just so... Anyways, the most expensive idea of Phineas and Ferb is... the world's tallest building. Let's see the calculations. So this building reaches the moon. If we look for the tallest building built by humans, it is in Dubai, the Burj Khalifa. It has a height of 828 meters and it costs $1.5 billion. The distance from the Earth to the moon is 384,400 kilometers, but I'm a college dropout. I barely know how to add using my fingers. So this is where precious and sexy ChatGPT comes to the rescue and saves us for actually using our brains. Oof, that was close. So the cost per meter for the Burj Khalifa would be this number. Now we need the total cost of the building that spans the distance from the Earth to the Moon, which the result is this huge number, which is how do you even pronounce that?
696,190,476,800,000, you dumbass.
This building being the most expensive idea ever. I would even say no fiction, because what could even be more expensive than this? Not even in third world countries do you see so many digits. How do they even get those insane budgets? Do they commit the always handy insurance fraud? I want to make a video about that, as well as what is the cheapest project they have built. So subscribe for that.